Welcome to Fantasy Baseball, Baseball, Baseball. I'm Dan O'Day along with Steve Romano. Hey, Steve.
How's it going, Dan?
It's going okay. It's Major League Baseball, June 2nd, 2025. The season progresses, and we have some changes in the standings from the last time we talked.
Yep, some teams are bouncing back, some teams are slipping down.
It is true. Last week we didn't get a podcast in, but the Phillies were in first place, but they've lost four in a row, 5-5 in the last 10. So they are no longer the best team in the majors. Can you tell me who the best team in the majors
Well,
is?
I mean, is it Detroit?
Yep. The only team with 40 wins. They're 40 and
Oh,
21. 40 and 21. Very exciting.
damn.
The next highest victory total is 37 wins by Chicago and the Mets.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Detroit's still playing good.
7-3 in their last 10. They have been hot. They're a real deal. I mean, that's 61 games played this year.
Yep.
So they're past the
I think
halfway mark. I
we're at
mean, they're
like
past the one-third way.
yeah, we're about 38% now.
38. So from 33 to 38. Their run differential is plus 98. They've scored 309 runs and 211 runs against. Detroit Tigers are for real. The Cleveland Indians are behind them in the AL Central, above 500, 6.5 games back. Minnesota, 7.5 game back, also above 500. And Kansas City, 2 games above 500, 8.5 back in the Central. So pretty competitive league. But Detroit running away. We got 4 teams above 500, but Detroit just playing so well this year so far. Steve, we're going to go to the AL East,
And
and I got to tell you, yeah, what are you going to talk about the Tigers?
well, no, I was just gonna say, the Tigers with that plus 98 run differential looks pretty good. But then Cleveland, who's 6 games over 500, but they have a negative 16 run
Negative
differential. So
16. That's pretty amazing. 6 games above 500. Negative 16 run differential. I don't know if there was a couple blowouts or what, but that isn't a
must have
pretty,
been.
must have had to be at least a one or two. Um, Funny enough, you say that run differential. I was going to the AL East, and you were just saying how they're plus 98. So is the New
The
York Yankees.
Tigers.
The Yankees are also plus 98. They are
Oh, yeah.
leading the AL East at 36 and 22. Toronto's 5.5 games back, above 500. Tampa Bay, which we always are amazed at, above 500 by 2 games, 6.5 games back. And then your favorite team, since you were a kid, the Boston Red Sox, 3-7 in their last 10, 4 games below 500, 9 games back now.
Yeah, they're just the same thing. It's been like 3 weeks now of just wallowing and not putting it together. Just
Yeah, and it's a
they
shame.
have,
We were talking in a different space about how they have maybe one of the best pitchers in the majors.
yeah, Garrett Crochet. I mean, an ERA of 1.98. I think he leads. I think he leads all of baseball in pitches thrown and strikes thrown.
Wow, wow. And they are
Yeah,
just not hitting enough. Is that what it is? The hitting of the bullpen?
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely leaving runners on base. Definitely leaving runners on base for sure. But yeah, very unclutch. If there's such a thing, I know a lot of people don't believe in clutch, but their hits just they don't matter, you know.
Yeah, they're getting hits when it doesn't matter. Not to ignore the last place teams in the AL East, it's Baltimore, 14 games back. And in the AL Central, I skipped the White Sox, 21.5 games back. Now we go to the AL West. You live in Seattle. Seattle Mariners are in first place by half a game right now, ahead of Houston Astros. They're 32 and 26. The Astros are 32 and 27, but they're only 4-6 in their last 10, and they only have a +8 run differential.
Yeah, the Mariners, they had a slump. I think they're turning out of it right at the moment, but so like over the last 10, like you said, they're 4-6, but I think like over the last 15 was really when they were bad,
Right.
and they're coming out of it a bit.
Yeah, they
But
won their last two,
Houston's been on fire, so they've closed the gap.
7-3 in the
They're
last
like,
10.
yeah, and I think they're like, I think they're 15-5 in their last 20.
Wow, That's
I was
nice.
I was looking at them the other day. They were. I don't know about now, but
Their run differential
yes,
is just plus 15, which is double Seattle, but they're pretty much tied in standings and tied in run differential almost. Seattle scoring more runs and Houston giving up less runs. Texas
yep.
is then in third place, 4 games back below 500. The Angels 5.5 back, and the Athletics are 10 back, 1-9 in their last 10 games, with a
Ugh.
run differential of negative 110.
Negative 110. And and the Tigers and Yankees are plus 98.
Wow. That's
So it's a
200.
208 run
Swing.
swing.
Yeah, yeah. That is crazy.
Wow.
Tough to be an Athletics fan, an A's fan, that's for sure. Going over the National League, the best team in the National League, there's a two-way tie. In the East, it's the Mets at 37 and 22, and they're tied with the Chicago Cubs in the Central at 37 and 22 for the National League lead. In the East, behind the Mets, only by 1 game, they're back. They're 36 and 23. The Philadelphia Phillies, they're 5-5 in the last 10. They have a 4 game losing streak right now.
Yeah. And the Mets have a 3-game winning streak right now.
Right, and they're eight
So
and
that,
two in their last two. There's a seven. Look at that. Look at that. Look, there's 3.5 games made up. Right, boom, boom, boom.
yep.
That's pretty impressive. The Phillies have been having trouble. They made some changes. They're bringing up that able from the minor leagues to take over for Walker. Walker's going to go in the bullpen. They just haven't been getting some timely hitting, and they've been getting some bad defense. There's talk of Trey Turner making the second most errors in the National League in the last 2 years. So there's that.
That's kind of
Um,
crazy. I never would have guessed that.
I never would
Ever.
that either. I showed you that stat earlier, and it was a surprising stat. Behind the Phillies are the Nationals. They're under 500 though. They're 9 back. Atlanta Braves 9.5 back. They're 4 games below 500. They're an interesting story. We've been following them since the beginning of the year. They finished. They started either 0-8 or 1-8.
Yep.
Um,
0-8. They
0
did.
and 8, and
0-8.
then
I looked.
and then you did look. Wow, thank you. And they started to come back. They got to 500, I believe, a game above 500 or so. Now they were 3-7 in their last 10, and they're back below 500, 9.5 back in the East, and then Miami is 13.5 back in the East. They're not going to go anywhere. They are not that good this year, the Miami Marlins. Atlanta Braves, though, I still think there's some hope. They got Acuna back. They've had some pitching injuries, though, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
It's a great turnaround, though, for them just to be where they are, to be honest with you, 4 games below 500. NL Central behind the Cubs of St. Louis Cardinals are 6-4 in their last 10, only 4 games back. Also above 500, the Brewers, 5 games back. And the Reds are 9 games back, but below 500, 29 and 32. And the Pirates, 22 and 38. The
If you
Brewers are
look at
8-2 in their last
yeah,
10. Yeah.
they're on an 8-game winning streak, the
Yeah.
Brewers.
I just, so impressive. I mean, think about it. They're 5 back. Right. So before that 8 game winning streak, I don't know where they were, but it's kind of saving their season. You know what I'm saying? They had this a great time to make some games back. Chicago's also 8-2 in their last 10. So they've stayed pace with the Cubs, really, and just
Yep.
caught up to the Cardinals a bit. Interesting division. The Cardinals are hanging tight. The run differentials are kind of extreme. The Chicago's plus 97, which is near the top of the league. The plus 98. We talked about the tied Tigers and Yankees, so they're plus 97, right behind the leaders. The Cardinals plus 30, Milwaukee plus 19, and the Cincinnati below 500 but plus 29 in the run differential.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. They are scoring runs at least. In the NL West, the team to beat is always the Dodgers. They've got a lot of money and a good farm system, but they're only 2 games up, Steve. They're only 36 and 23, which is very good. But the San Diego Padres are 33 and 24. Both teams are 6-4 in their last 10.
Yeah. I did not. I know the Padres, they shed payroll coming into this year, and I didn't really. I expected them to take a step back. So for them to be kind of hanging with the Dodgers 38% into the season, I would say that's a huge success.
It's a big win for the Padres. And so now they got to be all in. They got to be thinking anything we can, I would think. Well, to the best of their abilities, being the San Diego Padres. And the San Francisco Giants, also above 500, are 3 games back, just a game behind the Padres. A great season for them, only 4-6 in the last 10. And then real quick, Arizona 2-8 in their last 10, so they're now below 500 at 28-31 and 8 games back. Their season could be slipping away from them, Steve.
Yeah, it could be.
With three
It
strong
could
teams in
be.
front of them like this, it's not a good time to be 2-8. And then we just got to mention them. They were 2-8 in their last 10. The Colorado Rockies at 10-50, 26 and a half games back. The run differential is a negative 183.
Negative 183.
Only
That's
190 runs
that's
scored and 373 runs given up.
oh, in 60 games.
I mean, I'm sure they probably give up more runs on a whole because half their games are in Colorado. As we know, that field's for hitting, right?
They're
But
basic they're
still,
they're basically losing 6-3 every night.
yeah, they're not taking advantage of that hitting, that's for sure. Because their run score is the 190 runs scored just to let you know is the worst in the major leagues. There's a couple teams just ahead of them, the Kansas City at 194, but they have a good record.
I mean,
And Pittsburgh 194, but only 190 runs scored.
to have half your games in Coors Field and be the lowest run scoring team in the majors, I mean,
That says a lot about how sadly, pathetically bad their offense is. They're six.
yeah,
They're six and
it does.
22.
Oh,
Yeah, it does. It says a lot. They're 6-22 at home.
I mean, I don't want to say anything so negative, but
Well, I didn't
that's
either. I
gotta be just,
hesitated, but it's just true. The
yeah.
facts are the facts. It is a little sad, and we bring it up because it's such a great, beautiful stadium. So, I mean, those are the standings. The Dodgers just are plus 80 in the run differential. Real quick, the Dodgers have scored 343 runs, and the Cubbies have scored 341 runs. Those are the top two teams scoring runs. Got some good races going on. Some teams coming back. Some teams starting to fall back, like Arizona. Some teams needing to keep pace. And it's nice to see some smaller market teams doing well.
Indeed.
I mean, it
A
really
lot of
always
teams
is.
are still in it.
Absolutely. And we're 38. You said percent of the way through the season.
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's pretty good.
38%.
Real quick, I wanted to go over a few things in stat wise and possible injury things too. But stat wise, we go over the Aaron Judge report every week, and he's only batting 391 now, so he's slumped off a bit, Steve. Um,
Yep.
yeah, he's batting
Falling apart.
he's falling apart at 391. He's having a great season still. But I wanted to talk about Cal Raleigh because I keep reading all these articles about how he's, these experts don't want to dub him the best catcher in baseball, right? There's just like this, I don't want to call it an argument, but this
Oh,
conversation happening, right? And I guess it's
yep.
Contreras is considered the best, right, in fantasy,
Yeah,
or
the
overall
Brewers
too.
catcher. Yep.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
so I think it's time just to crown Cal Raleigh. I mean, right?
Rally.
Raleigh he's the best catcher in baseball, Cal Raleigh, right? He
Uh,
really is.
for me, he is. I
Yeah, yeah.
think so.
You live in
I
Seattle.
mean,
You're a little biased, but he's batting 264 with 23 homers, 45 ribbies, six stolen bases from your catcher. He's on pace for double-digit stolen bases. He's got 39 runs. He's just on pace for some real big highs. I mean, the last 3 years he had 220, 232, and 211. So there is a big difference. His on-base percentage is 379 this year. Is
379.
Yeah, 312 was his highest last year. So he's definitely listen. His highest in walks was 70 last year in 546 appearances at bats. Excuse me. And this year he already has 37 walks, right? And that's
Right.
in 212 at bats. So he's definitely being more selective based on the numbers, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's
Well,
he's
I'm
he,
looking at
he's
another
zoning in.
page right now, and
Yeah,
he's he's having a career high in walk rate, like his
yeah,
14.6%.
exactly.
And last
Whereas
year was 11.1. The year before was 9.5. So he's
absolutely.
walking more than ever.
So he's got the strike zone down. Like he's getting like the game slowing down for him or something. He's just seeing the zone really well this year and laying off those pitches outside the zone.
Yeah.
It's
He's
I
and
I'm
you know
just impressed.
they say he's great at framing. He's great at throwing runners out. He's great at calling a game, and he's leading the league in home runs. Right, he
He
passed
is.
Shohei and Judge.
He's got 23. Otani's got 22. Judd's got 21, and the Schwarber's got 19. And he's just the best hitter in baseball when it comes to hitting the ball over the fence. He's even
Right,
seventh in RBIs at 45.
yeah, and I think what did I see? Oh no, the record for home runs by a catcher, I think, is Salvador Perez from a few years ago.
41, wasn't it?
Might have been 48.
Whoa. Check that out, will you?
Yeah,
RBI leaders, real quick, while Steve is looking at the catcher Perez, who I love. You know I love Salvi Perez. I always have my fantasy teams. RBI leader is Devers with 53 from the Boston Red Sox. You know what? Just let him stay at DH. It's okay. You know,
it does appear to be okay.
286, 12 homers, 53 ribbies. He's playing only 231 at bats. He's doing good. Suzuki with 52 ribbies for the Cubs, and then Crow Armstrong with 51 ribbies for the Cubs. So why are the Cubs doing well? Well, it's a lot of things, but they're hitting people in. Suzuki and Crow Armstrong second and third in RBIs, and Aaron Judge with 50 RBIs, the only other one above 50. So what is Salvi Perez
Yeah,
the record holder of 48?
it it is. He was
Wow, good
he
call.
led he co-led the league. He was tied with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in 2021 with 48.
Wow, 48. That's just great. And then, real quick, a couple pitching stats. I like to always look at a couple pitching stats. I know sometimes it's not because how you pitch, but I think wins are important. Brown from the Astros has 8, and that's good to see because he's on pace for over 20. I like to see 20-game winners. I grew up with 20-game winners. I don't like when there's no 20-game winners, Steve.
I know, and when Cy Young winners have like 12 wins or whatever, but I
Oh,
don't like it either.
it's different. When we were growing up, not that we're old, but we're older. People were getting 280 innings, 250 innings. Now 200 is the top people are getting. Yeah, every so often you get a few pitchers up there, but Brown has 8, and then Freed, Fott, Ray, and Rodon all have 7. So they're all on pace for over 20.
I'm looking up. Oh yeah, they're all right, really around 19, right? All those, all
19,
those, all those guys with 7 wins.
7. So benefit of the doubt. It's 19. That's 20. So they're on pace for close to get 20. Interesting way to figure out the math. And then look at strikeout leaders. Look who's tied for first, Steve.
Let's
Tied
see
with
over
Gore
here.
with 101. Your
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Garrett Crochet. Yeah,
Crochet also has 101 strikeouts pitching, and then Skubal, has 99 strikeouts. Now they're on pace. Nice to see for over 200 strikeouts, and I would think Wheeler is also with 94, Webb with 91, and Rodon with 90. All over, on pace for over 200 strikeouts.
yeah. I would agree. Looks like there's quite a few this year.
Absolutely. Sales probably right around, over on the pace also. He's having a nice year, Steve. I wanted to talk about Sale with you because, you know, you were worried you kept him in one of the fantasy leagues. But he's really pitching well this year so far. He's, 306
Yeah,
ERA, a 1.24
yeah.
whip. He's 86
Look,
strikeouts.
when the Red Sox traded him to Atlanta, I was like, fine. I was done with the roller coaster of him just being injured all the time. So I was just ready to go move on. And then he goes to Atlanta and has wins the Cy Young
Yeah.
last year.
And
You
part of
know?
you, I remember talking to you, you were thinking maybe he spent it, like he spent too much last year and he'd have a bad year this year.
Yep. I was like this. Well, I was like, well, he's not doing that 2 years in a row. And he did get off to a horrible start. And I was kind of like, see, I knew it. But now for like I think his past 5 or 6 starts, I think he's kind of been awesome. He has been.
He's been great. I mean, I'm a big fan. Anyone coming back from a big injury like that. A couple news and notes real quick before we get off the MLB part is a couple big injuries. Corbin Burns, big possible injury
Yeah,
to his right elbow inflammation. Um, Never good.
and and that won't help the slumping Diamondbacks, who are 2-8 already in their last 10. If they're gonna
Yeah. And
lose one of their horses,
he was pitching well. I mean, big contract and everything. He was pitching well enough. Not super great, but great.
yep,
Your Alvarez is also apparently dealing with a fracture in his hand that's not fully healed.
yeah. I saw that on Twitter, as I call it. At least I saw a post where it was like, what, like they've been treating it like a bruise, but he's had a fracture for like weeks. Is that what's actually happening?
That's just crazy. And then, like, didn't he have a problem last year also with the same? So I'm not sure what's going on there, but he's playing. So, and then of course, Bryce Harper has missed 5 straight games since he got hit by a pitch in the right elbow, and that's concerning when you miss 5 in a row. They say he's okay and he's coming back, but you're keeping you out 5 games in a row
Yeah,
for a reason. Yeah, absolutely. Mookie
yeah,
Betts
yeah.
has a fractured toe.
That he says he's stubbed going to the bathroom at night. I mean, how does I just I can't buy these things. I just
Listen,
cannot buy them.
I have stumbled to the bathroom a few times in my day, and I've never broken a toe. Just don't understand that one. And of course, couple big ones. Kyle Tucker, it was jam right finger. The X-rays came back negative, so we hope he's okay. And Nathan Evaldi went on the IL.
Yep.
That was pretty big. He's been throwing pretty well, hasn't he?
He's been pitching great for Texas. Yeah. I mean, he really has. But he's another guy, like at some point. I bet you if you go through his career,
Yeah. Yeah,
like
absolutely.
22 or less games, probably 85% of the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's lucky if he gets a full season. In other words, you really shouldn't expect a full season from him. I think he's had a couple though. Not to, so I can't poo-poo all his seasons, but he hasn't had a lot of full seasons. And then really quickly to end the segment, Anthony Santander, um, not, I mean, having just an atrocious season. I mean, you can expect him to hit 220, but you expect him to hit some balls over the fence, and he's just been awful this year, like badder than bad, really not good. And so he went on. He only has
Yeah.
179, 6 homers, 18 ribbies. He went on the IL, and maybe that's what was the problem. Maybe he's injured the whole
Yeah, I'm
time.
sure. I mean, I was kind of like, I know he was holding out for a big contract as a free agent from Baltimore. And then when he finally signed with the Blue Jays, I was like curious that day, like, how much money did they pay this guy? Because I just didn't like the profile. Not to diminish what he has done, but I just didn't like the profile. I'm not betting millions of dollars on him continuing those results. And but when it ended up being what, like 5 years, 17 million a year,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
18
yeah,
million,
yeah.
I was like, oh, that's not that bad. Like 90 million, all right. I guess I can live with that gamble, but it's looking like a bad gamble.
It's looking like an atrocious gamble. Um, but like I said, maybe this is why. I mean, inflammation in the shoulder, I believe. I agree with you. It's hard to discount his 33, 28, and 44 homers the last 3 years with 89, 95, and 102 ribbies. That's real,
Yep.
you know. S-
Yeah,
But
exactly. That
those
happened.
averages, those averages aren't atrocious nowadays either. 240 the year he had his 33 homers, 257 the year he had his 28 homers. And last year when he had 44 homers and 102 ribbies, he batted 235. Not as high as you'd like, but welcome to 2025, right?
Yeah,
Some of these
pretty
power
much.
hitters have those low averages. But this year, 179, 6 homers, I hope that was the injury, and then maybe that's the reason because he did sign that big contract. Got a lot of exciting things going on in Major League Baseball. See if I can talk about baseball forever, but now we got to go to the fantasy part. So I'm Dan O'Day. That's Steve Romano. That's baseball talk. Now let's go to fantasy. Cheers.
Late later.